Good morning. All right, let's see where we're at. Let's check the weight. Hopefully we don't get like an error. 184.0. I was picking up on. Wasn't sure if I had it picking up right. Okay. I went to leave and I was just so like hyped up today, which it didn't start that way. I actually started pretty like lack of kind of energy. Just kind of, it wasn't even like that going to the gym. It's just like once I got there, hold on. You guys are going for a ride here. For whatever reason, this thing. All right, going around town one more time. That guy's flying. Okay. All right, so for whatever reason, I was just so amped up kind of that when I left the gym, I forgot to set my thing up here. And so I had to do it like at the entrance to the parking lot. So it was a little scuffed there to begin with. Yeah, so going to the gym felt good. I was ready to work out, getting there a little bit earlier than maybe usual today. But then when I just got to the gym, I was like, I don't know if the pre-workout just didn't get kicked in. I just wasn't in the right mindset. The first two exercises of the 6 I do, like it wasn't that I felt weak. Like, that part was fine. It was just like mentally, I was just like not in the moment. And it kind of took me a minute to like kind of like dial myself in and like kind of get in a groove. And then once I did, the pump felt great today. I was really liked how I looked once the pump was going. But towards the end, I think that my last exercise, man, I was just like energized. And sometimes that energy that I get doesn't necessarily reflect into these videos, unfortunately, because it's like right in that moment, I'm like pumped up because of the things I'm thinking about and everything. And then by the time I've cooled down and made it out to the car and stuff like that, I've kind of just like mellowed back out. But essentially it was just like, I was just very like excited. So today when I woke up this morning, we crossed over to the 50 subscriber threshold. The last I looked, we were at 55. So, we've hit that milestone, which is awesome. And, yesterday I added a little text to the thumbnail. I threw the thumbnail into Lightroom so it could like auto adjust the lighting in the photo to kind of make it look a little bit better, and put the text on the bottom, try to make it a little bit better of a thumbnail. And the app I use, that InShot, there's a function on there that allows me to it uses AI to a couple different things, captions. I didn't like the way captions looked on it, so I took that off. But I tried with like I think it was AI cut or something like that, and it cuts out all those filler words and dead spaces. So it's a little bit kind of clippy in the sense of like it splits, so it saves me having to sit and split out all the dead spaces. It's not perfect, but I got some compliments on the style seeming a little bit more like fluid. Even though there's like the cuts, it just seemed like it just flowed a little bit better. So I might just continue to do that moving forward. Just keep it simple, just let that little AI cut do its thing. And just like that right there, it's gonna cut that out. So you won't even know that right there, if it works as it should. So we tried a couple new things, but it's exciting. And I just think of all the cool things that kind of that last exercise that I was doing, I was thinking about all the cool things. It's like getting my family involved and like the things that could come about because of what I'm doing here, and the rewards that I could get, not in that way, but like the rewarding feeling it can be that can come from being able to not only express a message to you guys and build a community that's involved in the betterment of themselves and those around them, but also getting more involved in the relationships that I already have and making them become not necessarily involved in like the YouTube, but like more involved as a whole and like doing things together and making just fun, come up with fun ideas and fun content to do to get us staying active and whatnot. So I just got really hyped about like the potential of what this could have of doing YouTube and the sticking with it and stuff like that. And on my way to the gym, I was sitting there thinking and doing some reflecting about, my upbringing, my parents' upbringing, just a bunch of different things. And it just kind of made me realize like how lucky I actually am. How lucky I am to have went through the experiences I did, learned all the lessons from all those experiences, and being molded into the person that I am now. And that I could have turned out 14 different ways. My life could have like went 14 different ways, but I am here because of all the decisions that I made for myself. And when I sat and thought about all the decisions I've made and stuff like that, whether I was consciously thinking about the future or not, I'd like to believe I was in a lot of those decisions, but not all of them. Some of them I was just making a knee-jerk decision about whatever I felt at that moment. I was, sometimes acting on emotion and stuff. But the one word that I thought about when I was thinking about that entire situation was discipline, and how over all these years, I'd say the one thing that has put me where I'm at right now was the ability to do the thing that I didn't want to do because I had to. When I compare myself to my peers, and I think about it in that way, there's a lot of people I know that I went to high school with, and I see now where they're at, and maybe in high school they were part of the cool kid group. They were that people wanted to be a part of. They was maybe partying or on sports teams that any things that I wasn't involved in. And now I look and see where they're at, and it's like, sure, that one point in their life, they might have been at a place that maybe I aspired to be or was jealous of or whatever, but by no means would I want to be where they're at now. And, I think that just comes down to discipline. There was a lot of decisions. Sure, I made bad decisions. Sure, there was times when I was younger, 16, working a job, I called in sick to work when I probably shouldn't have, to do something that wasn't gonna better me, right? I'm not saying I've made perfect decisions or made all the right decisions, but the overarching thing that happened was having discipline to do what I needed to do even though I didn't want to do it. And that idea had me thinking about myself and how I'm not going to be here forever. My ancestors weren't here forever. My legacy into the future, as far as my family and kids and what they go on to do, they won't be there forever. And I was talking with a friend the other night, and we were talking about how humanity as a whole, what we consciously are aware of and stuff like that, isn't really that old. It's actually quite young, and there's roughly only, your lineage probably roughly at the height probably only goes back 40 generations. And so when you think 40, there's only 40 people in front of me that put me here. It's like, oh, and this is just not a hypothetical, but this was from a Google search on how many generations that on average are before you. I don't know. Don't fact check me on it. But the number came up was 40. So if there's only 40 generations in front of me, it's like I'm the 40th person in my family tree, potentially. So everyone that was prior to me, all the actions they did and everything that put me right here where I'm at, you don't know their story, you don't know their sacrifice. And so that made me sit and think, I'm like, I owe it to not only my past lineage, but my future lineage to do the things that I don't want to do to create that standard. And I'm not doing it for me, I'm doing it for my name. Because if you think about the people in the 1300s, my ancestors from the 1300s, who could have been out there being a Viking or being whatever and fighting in battles and lost a leg by getting struck by a sword and dealing with stuff that I could have never imagined to deal with. If they looked to the future and saw, for instance, if I was a heroin addict or, and that's, everyone's has their own thing, so I'm just giving an example, or some sort of drug addict or somebody alcoholic or somebody that had a gambling addiction or somebody that just screwed away my life, that person would be turning in their grave knowing that I lost my leg. I was out there fighting for the future of this name, for you to do this. And so it made me think about have to be humble enough and take advantage of this life that I was given for me to be the 41st or whatever, right? And then my kids being the 42nd of their line, teach and instill into them the same standards and same ideologies so that they do things with their life to prosper for their next generation. And that idea just really kind of had me inspired a little bit. That's man, there's so many opportunities in this generation that I shouldn't say nobody, a lot of people don't take advantage of because, I don't know. That's the question. Why? Because what? Why don't you? And I think once you kind of realize that you don't have any good reason why you're not doing these things, then it comes down to, I would say, a character trait. And is it just because you're lazy? Have an addiction? I don't know what the answer. Everyone's going to have a different answer for themselves. But I think that, we owe it to the ones before us and the ones after us to make something of our life, And I think that idea and that reflection just kind of like really made me think about like, you know, sleeping 8 hours a day versus 10 hours a day, you know, doing this, doing that, like, you know, auditing your daily life and figuring out where you're just withering away and wasting time and wasting yourself and wasting energy and just not actually being present in life. So, I mean, that's kind of the message. You know, I think it comes like, you know, simply enough that you owe it to the ones before you and the ones after you. You owe the work, you owe the discipline to those. I guess we'll get into closing out here. So, yeah, good chest day, good start of the week. Tomorrow I'll be back. Trying to think if I got anything else. Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep kind of the similar style of what I did yesterday as far as for the video. So yeah, I will see you guys all tomorrow for back day. Peace.